नमस्ते। आज हम यहाँ पे एक नए एपिसोड के साथ हाजिर हैं। आज हम बात करेंगे आर्च बिशप पीटर मचाडो, जो कि बैंगलोर के हैं, और हम बैंगलोर में ही उनसे बात करने वाले हैं। तो चलें उनसे हम बात चालू करते हैं। थैंक यू फॉर गिविंग अस टाइम एंड बीइंग पार्ट ऑफ आवर शो।
Thank you, Sonal. You have come all the way from Delhi and Gujarat in order to take this interview from me, and I feel quite honored. Thank you.
Thanks. So, I've been told that you're very active actually and very um open to all these changes which are coming in our society, and you have actually put a litigation in the Supreme Court against violence against Christians. Would you like to tell us a bit more about that?
Yeah, you know the background. Karnataka was one of those states that has passed what's called the anti-conversion bill. We were aware of it that in North India, many of the states, I think about 11 or 12 states, it's already passed. But the situation there, I don't say that it warranted anti-conversion bills, but the people were not much, the Christians are not much there, maybe not much educated also in some places in belts that are rural, etc. But Karnataka is different. You know, Karnataka is considered as one of those developed states which is contributing much to the economy of the country, and the IT, BT, the Silicon City they call it, with all these things where the educated people, it looked very strange for us why the government needed to tap the anti-conversion bill in Karnataka. Was it a fad, or was it perhaps to say that everyone in India should be one tract, one religion, one language, one culture, one food, one this thing? Is it that type of? So it was a very sad thing for us. And you know, when the bill was in the process of being passed itself, there were a lot of violent reactions in many places. Not only the protest types, but people also took the courage to attack some churches, attack some religious people, etc. So that was becoming very unbecoming. So in the context of that, first of all, we challenged the bill itself in Karnataka, that it is anti-constitutional and also anti-human rights. And so also in the Supreme Court also we put a sort of a suit to say that the attacks on the Christians should be stopped. The government itself should come forward and so that one particular minority should not be persecuted to such an extent that it creates a blot on the history of the or the scenario of the country itself. So that is how there has been a suit in the Supreme Court now, brought about by many Christian organizations, Christian churches also, and I've also given my credence to it, and that is how the bill also, perhaps the suit has come into my name, Archbishop Peter Machado and all the others, requesting that the attacks on the minorities, attacks on the minority institutions and places of worship may be stopped.
Okay, you are also the chairperson of a United Christian Forum, which actually documents a number of crimes against Christians.
Yes. Though I belong to what's called the Catholic group, here in Bangalore, in Karnataka, we have a beautiful sort of harmony and unity among all the Christian groups and denominations called the All Karnataka United Christian Forum for Human Rights.
Okay.
We take up not only the religious rights, also the human rights. You know, if you see properly, the religious rights violation also affect the human right violations, also go along with that. So we have this movement that brings everyone together, and we are happy to work together. Though perhaps there are certain differences among us, the things that unite us, the Bible, the crucifix, the what we call the Christmas celebration and the Easter, all these things, the Bible itself is a thing that unites us all, and therefore we have gathered together, we are meeting together, and at the same time we are trying to face this kind of attacks together also.
So as the chairman of the United Christian Forum, what are your findings? I mean, over the periods from 2014 onwards, I am told they're just
Yes,
increasing.
what has happened is, I mean, at the national level, we have a body called CDEF, the Defense for Minority Organizations and Minority Rights, have come together and they have enlisted or rather enumerated that almost 800 attacks took place in 1924,
Yes.
23, and in 1924 also equal number, and already now hardly 4 months, there have been hundreds of attacks in different places. And they have been scientifically or perhaps mathematically enumerated with the details, with places, with names, etc., so that nobody can say that it's just a vague accusation as such. So, this body of the All Christian India Federation has done this and it's going on.
Would you like to tell us something about what's happening? There's this, I'm told, chosen film,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
you've
yeah.
been asked to give
Give
an
a
explanation of a scene. Can you elaborate on that?
Actually, this picture is a beautiful one. It speaks about the life of Jesus, and life of Jesus not just as a religious film or religious. It's something that speaks about the whole humanity.
It's a
And
series, yeah.
yes, and the episodes that are coming on Jesus' life have been filmed or enumerated in an international perhaps cast, and also the technically the best technicians. So it's come out as a beautiful film. So what perhaps what is coming to into the theaters, to all the theaters in India, I am told about 100 theaters have been selected for the time being and perhaps more afterwards, to depict what's called the Last Supper.
Mm.
For the Christians, the Last Supper is a climatic moment wherein Jesus sits with the disciples, institutes what we call the last meal or the Eucharist, and from there begins our whole Christian history of Jesus' own sufferings, death, and resurrection, and also the proclamation of the good news to all the world. So, this particular so the whole episode or perhaps the whole film brought together, it's one of the beautiful moments, and therefore it's brought in India, and of course it's going through the different phases and different questions have been asked, why this, why that, and it seemed there were some people who were, I mean, not knowing little background, little of the scripture also, it's normal for them. I'm not blaming them. There's a scene of what's called Jesus whipping the merchants or the ones who are selling in the premises of the temple. And he is filled with that holy anger, as it were, that the precincts of the temple have been utilized for a very profane purpose of buying and selling and fighting and this one. And therefore, he drives away those merchants to say that don't make use of my premises or our temple as a den of thieves, is the word he used, the den of thieves. It's very true. I mean, nobody would like to make use of the temple or the mosque or the church premises in order to do commerce as such, because it brings respect to God, to the main deity for the other religions, etc., and therefore it has to be stopped. So, this is a scene that perhaps some are discussing whether Jesus is very violent, or perhaps I think it sort of mingles well with the narrative, because it's not something that the producer has brought in or the director has directed, but it's a biblical quotation in which Jesus himself does it, and I wish people understand it well.
So you've been asked by the censor board.
I mean, there was a clarification sought, which I don't blame them, because, as I said, perhaps that might be the scene that might have caused for them a little of question mark as to why it is done. And I have given the explanation also to say that it's normal, it's natural, and it is relevant for that particular scene, and there's nothing much to be discussed as such. And I think they are accepting it.
Going back to the violence, recently the priest in Jabalpur was attacked, and also so many cases keep on happening.
Yeah, Sonal, what has happened is there is a new mentality that is coming up in the country which is not very healthy. For example, even this WAFC bill that has come up. I mean, the things could have been better discussed, better proposed to the people, taken the Muslims themselves to be taken into consideration, because all the Muslims are not anti-India. Many of them are patriotic. They want to serve the country. They want to be part of the country, and therefore taking them into consideration would also be a healthy attitude as to see how perhaps there are certain regulations or certain clauses which could be perhaps bettered or which could be reformed in this way, could have been done, but this was a one way track. Like so also for the Christian community,
Hmm.
we are feeling the heat that the government sometimes unilaterally takes some decisions. For example, anti-conversion is the highest point that we have suffered a lot. So also there are some what you would call the persecutions and also some attacks taking place in certain places. I don't blame the people for misunderstanding, but the government as such has to protect the people, has to be neutral, has to be impartial, has to be take everyone into consideration. If there is a certain perhaps a little excess here and there, the government is the one who has to do. If the government fails to give protection, whom do we go to?
Um, are you all feeling the heat now that the Waqf board bill has been, I mean, amendment has been passed? Also, there is this document which came out about how RSS is saying now we will target the Christian
Yes, I
properties.
must say there is a lurking fear among us. Perhaps this is, I don't say it's a hidden agenda as such. In a majoritarian type of atmosphere, when everything has to be one way, one track, certain things that perhaps may not be very pleasing to them, but India is unique. India is incredible, they say, that in spite of so many religions, so many civilizations, so many cultures that we have lived together, is a miracle. And this miracle, which is a good thing, should go on. But trying to be oppressive, trying to be impartial, trying to treat one community against the put away against the other is very not very good. For example, we Christians are affected by what the statements that are coming out, that it was Muslims first and then it will be the Christians, and the Christian properties are supposed to be so much and so. I don't know whether anyone has really made those physical. Secondly, we as Christians are not just one community. As you know, we have the so many other communities among us, denominations among us. Put together, perhaps that it is there, but everything is made use of for the purpose of goodwill and the good development of the country. Our schools have big properties, but who is profiting them? Who are the students who come to our schools? Is it Christians? 90% of them are the Hindus and the Muslims, and they need a big ground. Perhaps the other places also need, the hospital needs a big ground. And if you count all these things and make a total and say that we have, perhaps they could make a total and see that how much of the properties the Christians themselves are utilizing for their own purpose. It would be just a fraction. The rest of it you would use for the whole humanity, the whole country.
Yeah, Christians have got a lot of they've done a lot of work in education and in health, and
Surely,
like
you
you're
know,
saying, most of the properties are actually
yeah,
those lands.
India should have been happy. I don't say grateful as such, but appreciative of the Christian minority contribution to the country. Though
Yes,
we are just
tell us.
2%.
Yeah.
There are 55,000 schools that are run by the Christian institutions in the country. In Karnataka alone, it's about 2,600 schools, and all of them are of a certain high standard, which are much better than the others, much cheaper than the others. A better culture, a better values are given. There is no other school that gives us, perhaps, speaks about the other religions also. For example, in Karnataka, we have made it a point to celebrate three feasts in every school. The first is the Deepavali, the festival of lights, which we also have meaning for us. The second is the Ramjan, the Muslim feast. We connect them with the fast. We also have fast before the Lenten season, 40 days of fast. And the third is the Christmas. And we say, take all the social celebration of all these feasts have to be done in every school so that we keep our children together. And as far as I know, 55,000 schools that we have had, 26,000, so 2006 in Karnataka, You cannot find a complaint of one child being converted to become a Christian in our schools. Not one child. If there is, I will surely investigate, and I would be the first one to point out to the school to say that they are not done well. Not one. So also the hospitals, the health sector. Though we are just 2%, about 35% of the medical institutions, the hospitals, the clinics, etc., are managed by us. And it's not for money. Perhaps we don't have super specialty hospitals that have so much to do, but ours for the poor children, the poor people, the people who have not much money to afford. And some of our clinics, especially in the rural areas where the hospitals and the governments cannot reach, we have those where people are happy to come and this one. Money is not the problem for us. Money is not the question for us. Our service is more important for us. And therefore, and also the social institutions,
Hmm.
who's taking care of the aged, many things, who is taking care of the specially abled, the blind, the deaf. And here in Bangalore alone, we have 21 types of specially able that are taken care of in Bangalore. What do we get out of it? Are we earning money? Are we having big profits? And who are the people who are taking care of these things? It's very few Christians. It's for the public. And so, having done this much, to give us a slap to say that we don't trust you, that you may be doing this because you want to have more people in your fold, I think it's a joke. It's not easy. And I challenge even now the government to say that to show us one person or one boy or girl that has been converted in our schools because of our son, we will surely accept our mistake. There is not. You can bravely say that. We won't go to that level.
Already now the world is also noticing this attacks on Christians. I think the European Union Parliament also took note of it. How do you see the future? Are you hopeful or scared or worried?
I always say that Christian and Christianity is a religion of hope. And the more challenges we have, there are more opportunities for us to seek out, to explain to others, to clarify, even if perhaps there's something that is cloudy, to clarify. But ultimately, we are persons of hope. This year, the year 2025, is what we call the Jubilee year of the redemption of Jesus. And the Holy Father Pope Francis has called it as the year of hope, the year of hope. And I say, perhaps these pinpricks will be there. Because of these pinpricks, also, we are kept a little up to say that beware of what you are doing, how you are doing. You may do it with a good intention, but people may be misunderstanding it. So, therefore, we also have to perhaps improve our approach, improve our tactics, and our ability to reach out to the others. But I would say, even these attacks and these persecutions, it's just a minority. I don't think it's even a 10% of the people in India are wanting to do it. 90% are good people. We have known of so many Hindus and Muslims who are much better than us. Yeah, I would say they are even saintly, more saintly than us. And the way they relate to us, the way they are grateful to us. When I sit for in my office, especially in the month of June, etc., there are hordes of people who want to get admitted to our institutions. I say that as a Christian institution, Father, don't say that. Don't say that. We have trust in you. My own father, my own grandfather studied in. We have never become Christians. You have never become Christian. You have never talked to us. But we are fond of your not only your religions but your institutions, and therefore we would like to come in. So there are, for every one person, there are 10 persons who are there for us. So we will have these small sort of challenges that we had there, but I am a person of hope. Things surely may be better. Even if it is not, we'll accept the challenges. We pray for those people. Someday, perhaps they might come and say that we thought it this way, but we understood it badly.
Okay. So, on that hopeful note, I would like to thank you for giving us time, talking to us, and I'm sure lots of people will be also encouraged with your, um, this message of hope.
Thank you, Sonal. I'm also very appreciative that you have come all the way to take some notes and some views and news from me. and I'm grateful to you, and I wish your readers also a very happy occasion to keep this exchange alive and at the same time to be in harmony, peace, and build up the country. We love our motherland. We are citizens of this country.
तो आपने देखा किस तरह से हर सवालों का उन्होंने बहुत क्लैरिटी से जवाब दिया। तो हम बिशप मचाडो के आभारी हैं। आप लोग डेफिनेटली हमारे वीडियो पे कमेंट कीजिएगा, बताइएगा कि आपकी क्या राय है इस बारे में, और डेफिनेटली हमारे वीडियोस को सब्सक्राइब कीजिए, लाइक कीजिए, डेफिनेटली शेयर करना। धन्यवाद।